Here we go again with an episode of Meant to Vent. This is number 25. I'm doing solo today. My man Will couldn't make it. He's on a little 2-week hiatus. So I'm going to try a little solo one today and see how it goes. Episode 25, we're calling it Wrong Turn. Because being by myself, I feel like this episode is going to take a wrong turn somewhere. I don't know where, or not, I don't know where, but hey, I apologize beforehand. No, but we're going to keep it rolling. We're going to see how it goes, you know. I was going to talk about some things like when I was younger. I figured since I was by myself, I would try to connect a little bit, see if anybody out there in my age bracket can, agree with some of the things or, maybe have some of the same things in common of my age group or whatever. Because I came from a different generation, and I'm still going through some of these new generations. So my generation came through, like, we was before the internet, before this, like, the real awesome cell phones. We had, like, funny cell phones that was part walkie-talkie. People could just do a little chirp and talk to everybody on the walkie-talkie. And then you started getting the cooler texts and cooler phones, and then it turned into the phones we got today. And so I was just from a different generation, man. Like, you had to go talk to people. Like, if you had liked a girl, you actually talked to a girl. You guys used to write letters. Like, you would pass letters in school, or have this girl or somebody that likes her or somebody, hey, go give this to her, so go get this letter to so-and-so. Don't tell her it's from, let her find out it's from me when she reads it or whatever. And then back in the day, you would have or those liking yes or no's on the boxes and stuff like that. And it was just a different time. It was a different time. I just think it was a lot of funny, And we even used to do those things like mixtapes. We had cassettes. If y'all don't know what a cassette is, look it up. But we had these things called cassettes, and we liked all these songs. We grew up in the hair band era, and it was like a generation. Like, music was all like going through weird transitions at the time. There was just so many different like music coming out at this time. So, like, people were going through the hair bands. It was like right before the alternative sad guys came out. So, like, there was all these love ballads, rock ballads, all these like girl ballads, whatever, all these kind of drug, sex, and rock and roll type stuff going on. And if you felt like a song connected to you and somebody, you would send a song or dedicate it to somebody. You could call a radio station and they would have a request hour, and you could be like, send this song to Vanessa out there, tell her it's from Jaime, and tell her, I love you, or I'm thinking about you. And then you would send her this old rock song, you know what I'm saying? Like an old ass rock song, or rap ballad or some sort, or like a love R&B song to somebody. They would always have these request hours, and they were a lot of fun. Then they would do request hours for like dance music and stuff, because we had a lot of awesome dance clubs, which we still do today. But some of them for like youngsters too. We had them for like the young teenagers, like back in the days when we used to slow dance with your arms straight out like Frankenstein's, and y'all couldn't touch each other. It was like you had space for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I said before, man, I came from a different era. We would send people love songs and songs how you thought you felt about somebody. I remember when I was my teens, and we would send a song out to somebody, or some girl would like me and she sent a song back to me. One time I was hanging out with my buddies, man. We was all hanging out, being mischievous young teenagers, and we was kind of transitioning. Like, I don't know if I really want to have a girlfriend right now or whatever. So this girl calls you, and she's like, they were like, yeah, she wants to tell you something, and then I get on the phone, and then she just plays this Motley Crue song, and I'm like, what the? So I'm sitting here and I'm with my friends, and they're all like standing like, what are you doing, man? You gonna get on the phone? Or you gonna hang out? What are we gonna do? And I'm like, so I just hung up the phone. Yeah, young teenage dumb stuff. Sorry about that, by the way. No, it's kidding. But yeah, she got over it real quick. It was like because we was young. Who gave a care? So, but anyways, we was a different generation. We used to have the I felt like our generation was a generation of horror films. Like, once we break out the 80s and 70s, like, we broke in, like, it was just like all those Nightmare on Elm Streets. The franchise came out. There was like the Friday the 13th. All the Jason movies came out. You had the Exorcist films, or like earlier, that started off in the beginning, back, what was that, in the 70s probably. Then you had like the Chucky movies. You had like these crazy ones like Scanners. I don't know if you guys remember Scanners, and like Critters. There was like all these ones, man. Ghoulies. They had like all these crazy ones, and there was this one with like, it was like interdimensional trolls. It was called Trolls, and like these people move into this weird house, and there's like this like weird interdimensional realm came from the basement of this new house they moved in, and they come out, and there was like this another dimension where trolls and big ogres and shit was from. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but that was a dope ass movie when I was a kid growing up. But we had all those cool movies, I think, and a lot of those like good quality stories are missing in some of these movies today, because they can cover up for it with all this like special effects and shit like that, and like hotties and stuff like that. Where, man, it was like all the CGI too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had like all these awesome effects artists, handmade, handcrafted all these creatures and stuff like that. Didn't have the assistance of like the CGI, which I appreciate. I appreciate all the work. The new technology is dope too, but it was just cool seeing all that physical type, things like that. Those old monsters, or like the pumpkin heads. Like you guys remember the pumpkin head? That was a good one. Pumpkinhead was a crazy, crazy, crazy good one. And that was some good horror stories back in the day that I can remember of. There were some scary ones too, man. There was some that didn't make you feel right after you watched them, like those weird Children of the Corn films. And I don't know if you remember that one, man. Those were some fucked up movies, man. Those were some crazy ones. They got like real crazy darkness when you got to like the Amityville horrors and the Shinings. Like, man, those movies took that wrong turn. You know what I'm saying? They said those movies, like, right in the middle of the movies, like, just a regular scary movie. And all of a sudden, whoa, 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 this movie just took a crazy wrong turn. Where the hell? And it just takes these, like, weird movies. You know what I'm saying? They just take a crazy, crazy twist on you. You know what I mean? Like that surprise that comes in The Sixth Sense. You don't know what the fuck's going on. And everybody, I don't care who you are, you all got surprised when that first happened. Now you know what's going to happen before the movie ends. But that was a good surprise back then. That was a good, like, what do you call those? Fucking like I don't know, like a movie trick or suspense in the movie, a movie trick or some sort. And then we had like a good era. There were other movies too that we used to always have. We had like a good like action era. We had all the fucking like cool action stars, and we're still trying to look for them now. Like we tried Vin Diesel. It was short ran. I mean, they're still trying. The Rock's got a good run right now. The Rock's doing all right. He's doing okay with some of his stuff, but he's going into comedy. He's keeping it safe because he knows you can't just be doing the same. Like, how many more Fast and Furious is going to do? It's going to be like Fast and Furious 14. They had to change the name. It was like Calvin Hobbs or whatever the fuck it was. Shaban Hobbs or some shit. Hobbs and Shaw or something. They had like changed the names because they knew it was like, all right, man, we can't call it Fast and Furious anymore. Ain't nobody coming. Ain't nobody coming to see this movie no more. We got to change the name. But The Rock's doing all right. But back then, dude, you had the Schwarzenegger, you had Bruce Willis doing the Die Hard movies, and then you had like fucking Rambo, you had Stallone doing the thing. You had all the cool action stars back then. The guy from that played Apollo Creed, he was playing some cool Action Jackson. That was like, and then you had like cool. We had awesome, awesome action movies, man, back in our day. Chuck Norris, Charles Bronson, Clint Eastwood. They were all them cool action movies growing up, man. They was a blast too, man. Some of them, then those ones got dark. Even Steven Seagal's punk ass, his early movies were kind of badass. Y'all can admit it. His early movies were dope. He would go in there and do them quick little moves, and he had like the weakest, like, he was like the most least agile martial artist I've ever seen in any film. Like, he would come out there with his ponytail all slicked back, and he would just say like 4 words to you, like, I'm gonna hurt you. And then like my man would come up and he would do like one quick move and shove the shotgun fucking right in a dude's face, like with one quick move, like pow. And then they would show him training, and he's just doing these like simple little punches, like that fucking little fucking rock'em sock'em robots. When you see him training, he's just hitting the board like, it's fucking hilarious. But then when he goes out, he just takes everybody out with like the most minimalist of moves, and he like says the most minimalist of words too at the same time. He's like, I'm Steven Seagal. But then his movies got bored because it was like the same shit, like it was the same Steven Seagal in every fucking movie. But yeah, that shit was a dope back then. Then you had Van Damme coming out, did the blood sports and kickboxers. It came out with those action films, and he had a bunch of like, what was another one? He was like a fucking like cyborg slash human. I forget the name of that movie too, man. But it was like him and Dolph Lundgren from fucking. He played Drago in Rocky IV. Those guys were like fucking half human and cyborgs. That was like, oh, Universal Soldier. That's what it was. That was a cool one back in the day. And those guys were like showing us like some early tech or whatever, like that scary, transhumanism type shit already back then. And that was a pretty wild movie when I was growing up. And so now the movies, like I said, I like the effects, I appreciate them, but I don't know, I just feel like some of the stories ain't as cool. Or they are cool, but they're almost like redoing some of the same shit, just but putting different people in there and, changing characters and whatnot. Because I felt like some of the, honestly, I felt like some of the Star Wars new movies was kind of like redos of old stories. But I don't mean to offend anybody, but that's just how I feel. So that was pretty fun, man. I touched on a lot of those older movies. A little bit of things from my little young past when I was a youngster. Young teenage love and all that stuff, You know how it goes when you were young. In my young experimental days. No. But anyways, with all this crazy stuff that's going on in the news and all this stuff that's going on, taking over a lot of things, taking over a lot of normalities, people's normal lives and stuff, man. It's getting kind of crazy. And we wish things would go back to normal, but now there's going to be a new normal, and we got to get used to it, I guess, if we don't, if we want to or not. I don't know what's going on. I mean, are people going to, build a resistance, or are people going to keep going? They say, speak on these injustices that are going on all over the place. And some people say, keep your mouth closed because you can get yourself in trouble. And some people say, don't say nothing at all. Whatever. So I don't really know what to do, what's going on. But there's so many things going on. All these new, crazy things happening. I kind of feel like it does have to happen. I've brought it up many times with my man Will, like I said, who's on a 2-week hiatus. And I just think there's nothing else left. I keep bringing it up many times. Like I said, everybody keeps, I'm not the only one saying it, but it's like there ain't nothing else left, man. We did every other scenarios that you can make up or whatever to take over these crazy things. I think the aliens are coming, yo. They might be happening, and or some people even believe that the aliens are already here. Some people believe that they're going to come. Some people believe that they're already here. My belief is I think some are here already. And maybe there's some bad ones coming or something. Who knows what's going on with that? Because they got the Space Force now. So are we preparing for, like, war with some other people that want to come and help or hurt us? Who knows? But it seems like we always just want to weaponize everywhere. We want to weaponize the ocean. We want to weaponize the air. Now we got to weaponize space. I'm not sure why, but I guess they do, because they ain't telling us shit ever anyway. So I guess we got to, see what happens next. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like there's a lot of people that talk about it. There's a lot of, shows. There's a lot of movies coming on lately. You got that Ancient Aliens. You got all these new shows coming out, and that's what they're talking about. It seems like they're talking about it a lot, and sometimes when you hear a lot of things pushed in the media, sometimes they, come to fruition, or whatever the word is. Sometimes they come to be true or whatever. But, yeah, the only one I feel like the one they talk about a lot I haven't seen yet was the zombies. I don't want no zombies out there, but that's the only one that hasn't happened either. But I'm thinking more like the alien race. Like, I think aliens might be coming, or they're here and they're going to finally show themselves or something like that, because stuff's like super unstable. It's just bananas, and kind of we feel like we need something to distract from all the chaos or something like that might, shock a little things in the system and ripple the water a little bit, and who knows, who knows. But we'll see what happens. You gotta see what happens and let the chips fall where they may. But that's what I feel like where the direction is going, because I feel like a lot of things are heading in that direction as far as like where the media is driving things. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a lot of media lately. I feel like those words are coming out. In my area, I don't know about you guys, but in my area, it feels like it's heavy. It's real heavy talk about UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. So who knows? Who knows? So yeah, like I said before, I feel like aliens are next, and what are you going to do? What could you do about it? It feels like all these movies are coming out. They're getting more realistic and more scarier with like the scenarios, how they deal with them and stuff like that. They got some of these wild alien type movies that are out nowadays. I don't know if you've seen any of them recently, but there's some that, man, kind of freak you out, and they do a pretty damn good job. Not just like the Sigourney Weaver aliens, but like some really good alien movies. Some of them are even like low budget, people don't even know about, There was an old one back in the day that Disney made. It was called Flight of the Navigator. And it was some young kid, man. He was coming home from school or something like that, maybe baseball practice or something. And he would always take this little route from home in the woods to like a shortcut. And so the kid, I guess, falls into some like cave or like a little ditch or ravine, whatever they call it. It was like a big old ditch, and he falls and hits his head, wakes up, and he's in like a spaceship. And like this alien who drives the spaceship or whatever travels around different planets and universe and all over the universe and collects species and stuff and tries to protect them, because some of these places aren't going to survive and stuff like that. So he's with the spaceship, and he's like, becomes friends or whatnot. They decide to bring him back home. And what seemed like just like a few hours or maybe a little bit like that was a bunch of years real time. And this movie was like a long time ago. I seen it back when in the 90s. Like I was a youngster, and I think the movie was probably, I got to see what time when it came out. I'd have to look that part up. But it was called Flight of the Navigator. So when he comes back, they were already talking about like time travel then, like about, not necessarily time travel, but like time space type of films back then, even, you know what I'm saying? So the kid came back, and he was the same age, but his little brother was older than him. His brother was like 18 years old or something, and like I forget how many years went by, like 9 years went by or something crazy like that, and he was exactly the same age, and it was a pretty trippy movie, man. It was if you guys get a chance, check it out. That's one of those like kind of trippy stories that kind of freak you out on a movie that you wouldn't think. There's some of them weird stories. Like there was another one I could think of called Dark Skies. That was a newer one, and Dark Skies was real creepy, man. Like it had like some poltergeist type of scenarios in there, man, where like people were thinking their houses was haunted for a minute, because all this weird stuff was happening, and then it come up like with all these news articles was all that was happening to other people in the world, and then it was like they were targeting some of the children at these people's house, man, and like at the end it's like they abduct a child and stuff, man. It was, man, that movie was so creepy. Me and my wife went to see that one to the theater, and like when we were after the theater, we were walking to the car at night, and my wife was like for real, like looking at the sky on the way to the car. Like it was that kind of creepy movie, man. It was like, it just had that like realistic feel. I mean, it's just wild. It was a real creepy one. It wasn't like that War of the Worlds type shit. That's like scare, super ultimate scary. It was like almost had like a ghost story scenario because the things that were happening felt supernatural, even though they just weren't like, they were just hard to comprehend. It's crazy how they talk about it. There's even like crazy stories about this place that even our government still studies today. There's been like billionaires who've bought this property, and like other people have tried to own this property and do research. Even our own government, like I said, is interested in this place, and they call it the Skinwalker Ranch. And even Indians have legends of this place, man. It's wild stories, man. Everything I see, there's like YouTube clips to TV shows and documentaries on the place, man. It's wild stuff. So they call it the Skinwalker because a lot of people see like these things they're calling, they see these like shapeshifters, man. They call them shapeshifters, like this guy that can, or this being that can turn into whatever it wants. Like it'll turn into multiple different animals of stuff like that to escape or whatever. And so I've been seeing all these things, man, where people do crazy ass research there, and all these weird phenomena happen there. Like, and they have real footage of it, man. Like you'll see buildings, like mountains out there. And you'll see weird, like, random beams of light from, like, these mountains, like, going straight up to the sky. And, like, you'll see these weird, like, heat signatures from big mountain faces and stuff like that on this range of this ranch. In the middle of the night, like, they're picking up these crazy things and, like, all these cameras. It's real trippy shit, man. And every time anybody goes there, you're guaranteed to get some kind of, you're going to get some kind of material. Something's going to happen. And, so, and it's guaranteed. And everybody that goes there, that's why the place is, it's got so much attention, because some things are happening where a lot of people don't understand. And I think that's when you get like our government's attention. That's when Uncle Sam gets involved, whatever, want to call it. But that's when they come in there and they send in their specialists, and or they come and take people's, research and stuff like that. That's why I feel like I like a lot of these YouTube guys, because some of these YouTube guys will make all these videos, and some of these guys will get in trouble. Like they'll come and take their videos off. And they'll leave some of these video people on here that are like just as wild. They're just as crazy and just as bullshitty sounding, but they don't maybe put in the work in, or they're like super like well-produced type things. And I think it's like those guys are bullshit, but they're leaving them bullshitters out there. And the real ones, if they're bullshit, then why are they taking them off when there's other bunch of bullshit out there? And if there's other, you know what I'm saying? Like if they're bullshit, then why their channel's getting taken off? Like those Alex Joneses and like a bunch of people. There was like this old lady. She was an old woman. I forget the name of her channel, man, because they took her channel down. And this lady would watch, like, the public access cameras from, like, Alaska and, like, stuff like that. And you could see, like, the weather changes, or, like, the sun, the sun passing over. They had these, like, cameras out there in these certain points by the North Pole and whatnot. And this lady would catch these things from a public camera, like a camera that, the public could watch. And there would be these objects in the sky all the time. It almost looked like there was other planets, like, or visible, or, like, or these, I don't know what they were, like. There was some weird big-ass things out there, and all of a sudden they just took her channel down. And she was just this lady, and she was like, she was sounded like an old, sweet, nice lady. And she would show these crazy things out there that was on a public camera. And you would go there yourself and see these same things. You could be like, wow, man, that was wild shit. And so, yeah, and then you just take them down. Like, there's all these other people that were doing these things, but then they leave these other channels, like the Qs and the Anonymouses and all these other whatever they are, so, you know what I'm saying? those are ones I think are the real bullshit, and the ones that kick off might be the real deal. And some of them people, like I said, they could be crazy and a little too crazy, and that's probably why maybe they got to get them taken down, because the real loonies got a big following. Like, whoa, let's settle this thing down a little bit. But for real, on the real point, I think some of them guys they booed off were talking some real stuff, and that's why I think they eliminate them out of the way. Because YouTube is like killing a lot of TV these days. People are starting to see that the news is bullshit, and they're starting to go to other resources, and that's what I think a lot of people need to do. There's a lot of other resources to get information, and then a lot of people don't utilize it, and I think you should, man. We got these little computers in our hands, tablets, and computers are awesome, and getting, like, we got, a lot of ways to reach out to get information, and I think we should take advantage of those and look around, man. See, there's a lot of things going on other than what the news is just pumping in your face, because a lot of times they're pumping those things in your face. Could be distractions for, like, what's really going on. There was a big, because, like, what's really going on, and the media will, like, kind of disguise it sometimes. There's a lot of things going on that nobody wants to talk about, or they just ain't allowed to. And, for instance, the media's taught, there was a big sex trafficking scandal that got busted, and, like, all of a sudden everybody stopped talking about it because the you-know-what got around, and we got to wear the you-know-whats all the time, and we got to follow those rules or whatever, all this stuff. We got to start, complying to all these things. But everybody seemed to forget about those things. There was a lot of things that happened. Sometimes when our presidents used to get in trouble, they would bomb something and then distract everybody, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And now we don't got sports to distract us. We got all these other scenarios to distract us. Well, I mean, there's scenarios regardless. It's real deal shit. But there's stuff that we still be talking about. There was that Epstein shit going on. This guy has a big fucking list of people that went to this island that everybody ain't talking about right now. And I think we should still be talking about this as well as what's going on, globally and, nationally with the you-know-what, you know what I'm saying? And I just don't think we should let this die out. You know what I'm saying? Because they say like 800,000 children go missing every year in just the United States alone. That's almost 1 million children in the United States alone. Like my man One Take Will, man, like used to say, you need to watch your children. Don't just let the computer and all these digital babysitters watch your kids these days, man. You need to start watching your kids, because in 250,000 of those, I was watching like a 60 Minutes and got this shit, like Anderson Cooper type shit. It was a Anderson Cooper special or something. And it was like 250,000 of those were like family members that kidnapped these kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, just there's all this stuff going on right now, man. And there's like certain states in our country that have like the highest like missing children in like our country. And it's spooky, man. And nobody wants to talk about those kind of things, man. The children are missing, and things are happening. There's sex trafficking going on, and that's going on right now. And they got that girl in custody, Epstein's lady, and she's ready to drop names. And I don't know what they're going to do, if she's going to supposedly not kill herself soon, or are they going to get these names? Because I heard he's got video of everybody. He's got all kinds of video. He had video on his planes, boats, rooms, houses, like everywhere he had video, man. He probably had everybody by the fucking balls, even the females by the balls. He had them all. And so my belief is, like, why are we not talking about this? We should be talking about this at the same time. We shouldn't just be engulfed in what these people are trying to do over here. And we should be talking about everything, because some of them people that are involved trying to keep this whatever you-know-what going on and our minds off of this are on that client list. And you guarantee if this thing ever makes it out, or they're trying to probably get this information so that it never does come out. You know what I'm saying? Because they gave that dude Epstein, I don't know if you guys watched that Netflix special, they gave that Epstein dude some crazy-ass plea deal you would never think of, man. He only ended up doing, like, his first time getting arrested, he did, like, 13 months for soliciting, and they changed his charges wasn't to sex trafficking, it was fucking solicitation or prostitution of a minor or some shit. He only did, like, 13 months, and then it was, like, part of his deal was he didn't have to bring up none of the people that he knew, and none of them people could be questioned. That was a part of his deal, dude. And he got to leave every day from prison, go home. There's this one guy videotaped him 66 times violating his probation, an investigator, and this guy never got one time put back in jail for violating probation. So there's, you know what I'm saying? This is a bigger thing going. There's a big thing going on here, man. We gotta watch the kids, and it's got the kids going on. And everybody's just gonna turn their shoulder on this. While there's a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? And, like I said, this is why this is called a wrong turn. at any moment, this show could take a wrong turn. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's what's happening, and nobody wants to talk about it. And I think we should keep talking about it, as well as our awareness and precautions with the whatever that's going on. That you know what, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when I get, I'm a new channel. Sometimes when I speak about the sometimes they're not wanting to promote my stuff and stuff like that. So I gotta spill around it. I'm trying to spin around it. But yeah, man, there's real shit going on. This girl is in custody. She's ready to drop names, and everybody should be wanting to know who those names are, because some of them people could be who you're voting for in your own cities and states and shit like that. And now they're doing all this voting by mail type shit, when they're already, that's going to be so much fraud going in this thing that you guys can't be that dumb to not see that the fraud's going to happen. It's already happening. So yeah, we got to watch this election, because I think there's going to be already some voter fraud happening and a lot of stuff like that you ain't going to be ready for. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, there's already stuff that the news ain't talking about. Like right now, there was mail ballots being discarded. 4% of these mail ballots that already been in there have been discarded because of postage problems. Some problem with the postage. 4% is fucking huge. There was 403,000 mail-in votes for this shit. And fucking 4% is a big amount, because some countries and some states in our country, man, depend, like, some of their votes depend on like hundreds of votes. You got districts, you got states, and some federal even depend on like small little hundreds of fucking votes. So that 4% is fucking huge, man. And like, that's already showing right now, and just the first little segment of mail votes, man. So I'm expecting a bunch of fraud, man, happening. This is going to be some phony, weird voting going on. And so expect some craziness. There's going to be some weird shit happening. And I ain't with that, man. I just think it's crazy. I think we should all be aware of that. There's a lot of shit that the media ain't talking about. Not only that sex trafficking shit, but now the voting shit. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, this episode was called The Wrong Turn. And as you see, all our topics kind of took some crazy turns in all different directions. And that's where I got the inspiration for the title from, was The Wrong Turn. You know. But speaking of turning or driving, I was seeing some people today, you know what I'm saying, driving with their hand on their chin. Like the emoji. Like, what are you thinking about? Or are you even thinking? Are you just rubbing your chin? Are you hoping you're getting beard hairs? Like, what's going on there? Like, what are you doing? Is there something there you're trying to get off? Can you smell something by rubbing your hairs? I don't know, or your face. Is there something like, are you creating some kind of like fragrance when you're doing this, like a scratch and sniff? I need to know what's going on. Because I'll be driving, and I'll be holding the steering wheel, and I'll be driving just holding the steering wheel, and then I'll see people walking, and I'll look over to the car next to me, and I'll see these guys with their hand on their chin, like bam, driving with their hand on their chin. I just wonder what was going on. I don't know. It kind of baffles me. Y'all can let me know with that. And on that, if you guys like what's going on, please hit us with a like and subscription. Like I said, we're having a blast doing this. My man Will's on a little 2-week hiatus, but the show must go on, and we drop once a week. And this has been another episode of Meant to Vent. I'm out of here. See ya.